All right, so that was only about 8 minutes of cold air time. Welcome back, everybody, and we are discussing what I promised, which is now called Runecasting. Yeah, we've gone from Dark Souls and conditions to a whole new different format called Runecasting, and I really like this twist from the Shades of Dominion, going from simply spell casting to now casting runes upon, well, your enemies, yourself, your allies. You can put runes on pretty much anything. And we're going to talk about one of the OG runes. We're going to talk about stress. And rune casting in the Shades of Dominion, we're going to be talking about stress runes. Now, stress, before I begin, stress is one of the OGs, one of the premier counters in the game. So, stress, for those of you who aren't in the know, is pretty much what we use to replace discarding. So, what a stress rune does is it delivers a -1 debuff, standard, and it triggers whenever the toughness is met, meaning that there is a number of stress runes on your character or on the target, or whenever a spell targets a stressed target. And if you're stressed, you stress whenever you have any stress counters on you. Now, what the runes do is when they hit your toughness, when you have an amount of stress runes equal to your toughness, the default debilitation, and all runes have a debilitation that 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 triggers when you hit that threshold of your toughness, and it's exhaustion. For those of you who are still in Magic the Gathering land, you get tapped, you get exhausted, you get boom shut down, that whole thing. So that's the default debilitation for stress runes. But what do stress runes actually kind of do? What spells do they? What are they used for? They're used for illusions, and they're a main staple for mind tricks, phantom spells. Fright uses stress runes if you fail the test and whatnot. So stress runes have these themes, illusion, magic, phantoms, mind tricks, so on and so forth. Recovery. Now, this is something that was really kind of not set in stone. Like, so you've got a counter, but it's not a card game. It's not something you can just work through. This is a character that's going to be walking with you. You're going to be keeping. They can't keep the counters on them. They're not forever. So how do you recover from them? So here's what we have. The recovery skill for stress runes is insight. And while in combat, you have a DC check of 20 plus the number of stress runes on you. It's an insight check that you need to take as a full action in combat. Now, when you're outside of combat, things change. You can remove your stress runes by taking a long rest. That will get rid of your runes. Paying a stain shade equal to the stress runes to be removed will also remove them. Now, if you make that skill check up above, um, outside of combat, and you only get half, if you get less than what you were supposed to, but you got more than half of it, what you can do is you can keep the runes on, but you won't have any debilitation until your next combat encounter. That's pretty much what that's about. And most runes have this kind of outside combat setup. Some are a little different. Some obviously have a different skill set. Um, some require short rest. But this half skill check to delay debilitation, that's pretty standard. Next, we're going to talk about sample spells. Now, what kind of spells will you see stress runes on? And primarily, we have two examples in front of us. The first is Mirage. Mirage is your basic minor illusion spell, which is pretty cool. It's you create a small static illusion, no larger than a 1 by 1 square volume, or which is basically 5 by 5 feet, or a 3 by 3 flat square area. So you can either have a cube or you can have a large carpet. This spell automatically succeeds if the targets that you're casting it against have stress runes equal to their toughness or more. So what you've said is, okay, I've given you enough stress runes. Now you must believe whatever I show you. That's kind of the gist of this. Targets who have stress runes are far more susceptible to your illusion magic. That's what they do. Otherwise, stress rune skill check with the insight, and it gives you an example for stacking the template for adding scents and other sensory effects. Now, the cool thing about Mirage is it also counts as illusion spell. So if you have character aspects to say, okay, if uh, if a shade summon or an illusion shade summon was destroyed, this spell counts as a destroyed illusion. So this is something that would help the illusionist build. Now, Muddle is somewhat similar to Mirage in that you pay an Aether Shade and X. You pay X and you place X runes on a target. For each stress rune, the target suffers a -1 penalty as standard for getting the stress rune. Now, if the target stress rune is equal to or greater than its toughness, the target exhausts itself, a ready spell, or an active aspect it controls or that's on it. Generally, if you're casting this on an NPC, the target just exhausts. The other options are for if you're fighting another Shade Mage, which would be far more interesting. Now, the bullet points over here, the mainstays for stress is that it does not allow for detection of your illusion spells. Very cool. Also, the primary debilitation is that it causes the targets to exhaust or lose spells. And there you have it. Those are your stress runes. And they, as I said, they're the OGs. They're very versatile. There are many spells that will allow you to change up debilitations. So we have something that's truly dynamic, something that's actually very, very, very useful. And that is it. That is the stress runes for the Shades of Dominion. Uh, Next coming up is Focus runes. And I'll catch you then. See you next time. Bye bye.